Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at DisneyPlus.com. A quick Disney Plus news roundup. We're going to be talking about a brand new short Carl's Date. Also going to be talking about Disney trying to buy WWE content for FX and much more. But before we go any further, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. Okay, so let's kick things first off talking about Searchlight Pictures' Flaming Hot, which debuted on Disney Plus and Hulu last Friday. A fantastic film. Definitely worth checking out. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. So it was revealed by Disney yesterday that according to their data, this is the most watched Searchlight Pictures premiere ever in the first 3 days on streaming. So that sounds great. You know, obviously it's a success. It is their most watched film that they've had for the premiere. And it's like, that is really good. However, there's no real data involved in here. You know, how does it compare to films from other studios? And also when you're comparing it to other films like Flesh, Quasi, Summer of Soul, you know, Not Okay, there's not been a huge amount of Searchlight Pictures films that have been released direct onto streaming in the last couple of years, and very few of them have kind of become really big, though some of them are really good. I thought Fresh was a lot of fun. But I think it's kind of, you're just going to take this as a little bit of yeah, it is great, but the context of how good it is might be lost. It's going to be interesting to see how all this works out when we get the Nielsen numbers in a few weeks' time. The film has been trending. It was even trending here in the UK, which films don't tend to do so much here in the UK on Disney Plus because so many people are watching the classic shows and stuff so much. Things like NCIS, Grey's Anatomy, Family Guy. So it's a lot harder for films to get in. That's why having Avatar as the #1 was a really big thing here for the UK. You don't tend to see that very often. But nevertheless, Flaming Hot has been a success, and I'm glad it has, because I thought it was a fantastic film. I think releasing it on all the different platforms I think is the way to go. I think we're going to be seeing more of this, and it definitely shows there's a lot more power in having it out on more platforms, definitely. But let me know, did you watch Flaming Hot? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So Disney has released a brand new trailer for Pixar's upcoming short Carl's Date, which is going to be coming to cinemas alongside Elemental. So in the US and in Canada, it's coming out this coming Friday. For us here in the UK, we're going to have to wait until early July. It's just because the films they're doing so. I'm wondering if it's been pushed back a little bit so it gets more use, more people going during the kids' holidays. Because here in the UK, we tend to break up a little bit later into July rather than in the US, which is around now. So that's obviously an issue. But the trailer itself looks really good. We get to see Carl kind of getting ready for a date. He's kind of getting the chocolates ready. He doesn't really know what to do. It's been a long time since he's been on a date, trying to get flowers sorted. Doug is completely confused and hasn't got a clue what's going on. And it looks nice. I think it's a really nice short. Originally, this was going to be on Disney Plus for Valentine's Day. It then got pulled and then got moved to a theatrical release alongside Elemental. I think that is actually really good. I think having shorts before films, I think is a really good way of boosting a shorts in terms of viewership. It's just something really nice, and I always like the fact that when Disney do this, so I am hoping that this now is just, we're going back to this zone. And also it's probably worth much more again when it goes on to Disney Plus eventually. It's more people have seen it. Whether or not they wait the full 3 months until it arrives at the same time as Elemental, or if they do it a little bit earlier, I don't know. But also it's a good way of trying to get some more people to go to see Elemental, because they've got their favourite characters from Up in here. And there's probably some people that maybe aren't even aware that Doug Days even exists. And this was really just an episode of Doug Days that got kind of pushed back. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. The trailer looked nice. Can't wait to see it. But I don't know if it would necessarily make me go to the cinema to watch it. But I'm going to go watch Elemental when it comes out in a few weeks anyway. But let me know, are you excited about Doug Days in the comments below? Okay, so let's now talk about something completely different. And let's talk now about the WWE. Because according to the New York Post, Disney is actually in negotiations and trying to get hold of either Raw or SmackDown, or maybe even both, for the FX channel. This is kind of interesting because there was a lot of reports earlier this year that Disney were trying to buy the WWE. They even had some meetings, but ultimately Endeavor actually was able to pick up the WWE, and they're going to kind of be merging with the UFC, which obviously have a deal with Disney for ESPN. So there's been a lot of discussion about the fact of Disney trying to get the show for FX. Now you might be thinking, why FX? Why not ESPN? Well, one of the big problems with the ESPN channel is they can't guarantee that they'll have the same time slot on the same channel. So if they put it on FX, they can kind of schedule everything around it. But right now, basically, the WWE is trying to negotiate the deals for Raw and SmackDown because That's coming to an end of next year. So they've been in negotiations with both Comcast and Fox, but now the exclusivity has ended on those contracts, and that's going out to a larger audience because obviously WWE want to get a lot more for it. We saw last year that sort of the WWE and Disney kind of made a short-term deal to keep those shows on Hulu, and to kind of essentially try and tie them in together so they can get the streaming and the linear television rights at the same time when they come up next year. Peacock still has a 5-year deal with the WWE in the US, and that's still a couple of years away, though I could easily expect ESPN to try and get it. Disney has already made a deal to bring the WWE Network onto Disney Plus Hotstar in some Asian countries. So it's not like this is entirely a company that doesn't do it. I know a lot of people were like, Disney and WWE, oh, they're going to make it all Mickey Mouse. Like, no, they've got a lot of other stuff that they're into. But yeah, it's very interesting how all this comes in. I'm obviously a wrestling fan, so I'm much more interested in this. But there's lots of deals and stuff going on. Like here in the UK, we're seeing host shifts going around with BT Sports becoming TNT Sports and what's going to happen with that. Because apparently there's going to be a lot of negotiations coming up at Money in the Bank, which takes place here in London next month. And so, yeah, there's just a lot of interest right now with Disney trying to get hold of content. There's been a lot of talk as well of people going, they can't afford it, they're trying to sell it. Like, Disney's making a lot of money. They're still making money. They've still got to spend money to make more money, and trying to get hold of assets like the WWE would bring in a massive audience every week on FX, get a lot of sponsorship, and also if they can tie it in as well with the streaming rights, they can then put that onto Disney Plus and Hulu or whatever they're going to have by then. I expect by then we're probably just going to be on Disney Plus. But yeah, lots of great interesting stuff going on right now. Whether or not Disney is willing to pay the amount of money, whether or not Fox or Comcast, or there's even talks of like Amazon trying to get in, because they've been spending a lot of money getting sports like the NFL for their Thursday night shows and stuff. So there's a lot of this competition going on right now. But now basically, and it could be anyone's. But overall, I think this is going to be very interesting to see what happens next. I'm hoping that Disney get it, because that would be great, because I like WWE, so why wouldn't I want it on their networks? But nevertheless, let me know, what do you think? Do you think WWE on the FX channel, and obviously then probably streaming on Disney Plus, is going to be a good thing? Let me know in the comments below. Talking about what's new on Disney Plus today, if you're in Canada, you have got a new episode of How I Met Your Father. That episode is also available on Hulu in the United States. So let's now talk about our comment of the day. Donovan asks, hello Roger, do you think Disney will sell Lucasfilm, and also will Disney Plus have a better future? Okay, so this is in reference to a number of internet rumors going around that there's some offers from like Saudi Arabia for Star Wars, and Disney are apparently trying to sell it because everything on Disney is on fire and they're just trying to sell everything. And it's like, really? There's just so much negative clickbait and stuff going around on the internet right now, because ultimately negativity sells so much better on the internet. I know if I do a negative story, because it is a negative story, it will generally get a lot more attention than if it's a positive story. It's just the way that internet is, and anyone can just make stuff up and put it out there on the internet and just say a source told me, and that's kind of the issue. So the fact is that Disney is selling assets. It is dealing with some issues following the purchase of 20th Century Fox, also with the pandemic and streaming numbers, and yeah, the stocks are down. There's no point in denying the fact that Disney has been going through some major changes. They have been trying to cut costs, about $5 billion. But they are still making money every single month. They're still bringing in billions. Movies are still making money, and it's just a load of rubbish on the internet right now about how bad everything is, because it just gets more clicks and gets more money for the people making the content. So as regards to Disney selling it, why would they want to sell one of their biggest assets that they got? The theme parks are full of stuff, merchandise. It was that Star Wars celebration. They filled out a place full of fans. Their Star Wars content is massive. The films have been huge. Why would they want to sell it? And then there's this idea that they get to keep it. There's been rumours of Disneyland Paris is up. There's a whole load of rubbish just floating around the internet right now, and yeah, it's I don't believe any of it. There's a lot more assets that Disney could sell that make a lot more sense than getting rid of Star Wars. They've got ESPN, which is worth way more than Star Wars. There's even been reports that like Disney own the rights for the Queen back catalogue. That could go for like $1 billion. They've got television networks. They've got other franchises they could get rid of, or networks, or studios. Selling Star Wars doesn't really fit into any of that, because Star Wars fits the idea of what Disney wanted to do, and that they wanted Marvel and Star Wars to appeal to a different audience than like Disney Princess and other stuff, and that's been working perfectly. Why? It's just done so many negativity stuff about Star Wars and people just churning out rubbish just to get people interested. Yeah, there is some issues with Lucasfilm. There's no point in denying it. You know, they've had some flops like with Willow, and I don't know if the new Indiana Jones film is quite going to hit where it wants to. And yeah, Catherine Kennedy has been said to been leaving or being about to be fired for years. But whether or not that ever happens, at some point she is going to get replaced. Whether or not that's this year or not, I don't know. But I just feel like there's just so much rubbish that goes around on the internet that you just better not paying attention to all of it. Yeah, so that's just my general feeling as far as Disney Plus getting better. I really do believe now that we've seen they've got a way forward with Disney Plus. I think it was floundering, especially in the US, because it basically was handcuffed by Hulu. They could never move forward while they still had this Hulu situation. Once we've got the one app experience in the US, where Hulu is now available within Disney Plus, and then eventually they can merge it in, and then we're going to get the Disney Plus that we get here in the UK. I have had Disney Plus in the last 2 years. It's fantastic here in the UK. You get loads of shows to watch, loads of great stuff. You know, it's full of great originals and stuff. But in the US, it just hasn't got that same impact because of so much stuff being missing because of Hulu. And I really do feel that that's going to be better when it's all in there. But also, just making better shows and putting out less rubbish is better overall. I feel, you know, we're seeing a lot less originals being released, but that's because some of the originals now we're getting are much better, and I think we're going to be seeing this moving forward. So I'm really positive about it all. We're just in that little bit of a bump now, where once we've kind of got what's going on with Hulu in the US sorted, and we're so close to it now. Now that we know what's happening, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens, and then it will step forward and be able to go and move on to the next step. But let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe, and I shall see you guys soon. Laters.